Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to another episode of Cliff Notes Live. A good Monday to y'all. I hope y'all are doing fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to those of you who have been watching the show for a while, those who are new. I'm sure we got a few Big Brother fans out there, right? Yeah, I hope so, because we're going to be talking a lot of Big Brother this evening. But before we do, first of all, a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids. Love reality TV, especially love you guys that share every Monday with me out here. Love the Big Brother fans in particular. Nothing against the Survivor fans, the Amazing Race fans, but Big Brother is just something special because of the live feeds. Don't ever stop them, CBS. Please don't ever stop those live feeds. All right, before we're going further beyond that, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, giving a thumbs up to the show itself. I guess that helps as well. It makes me feel cool to see those out there. But if you do that, you'll get notifications whenever I drop one of my morning recap episodes. I gotta say, these guys stay up a long time. There's still a lot of people talking. It gets a little bit easier when there's 8, 9 people, not so many conversations going on at once, but trying to keep track of all of these things, not always so easy. So I try to do it every night. Well, I do it every night. But if you turn on your notifications, as soon as I put that morning recap out, you'll get word and you'll be able to check it out. Let me know your own thoughts. Those morning recaps, let me just say this real quick. I always appreciate the comments, the feedback that y'all give to me in terms of the show and what y'all are thinking and your opinions and all that. Makes it so much more exciting when I can talk Big Brother with all of you guys. All right. With all that being said, I know there's a lot of y'all out here talking. I'm going to try to get through as many of these hellos as I can, but we're going to go fast. And if I miss a few of you, apologies ahead of time. You know it's not intentional, right? All right off the bat, Ma, welcome aboard. If you started school yet, I assume so. Welcome aboard, Ma. Michelle as well. Michelle, how are you? Patty, Brian Hostetler. Love to see these names out here. One Eye Willie, hey, One Eye, Audrey Cobb, Karen Berkey, Heather Marshall, Marilyn Sutherland, Mark Taylor, Jordan Kaufman, Karen Hummer, let's see, Karen Loveland, Desiree Watts, Paula Scar, Kennedy Franklin, Cash Wash, Nelly, let's see, Marshall Davis, Christian Cisneros, Rose Clearwaters. Oh, I love seeing the mix of the names I recognize and some new names out here as well. Paul Long, Andy W, Marion, YTC JC Star 1015, Lisa D, Laura Lewis, Lee Strack. Let's see, Tommy Braska. Hey, Tommy. Annoe, Tina Harler Sandstedt. I feel like I messed that. Tina Harlan Sandstedt. Hey, Tina. Laura Lewis. Let's see. Did we get through this as quick as we can? Joanne Malazzi Friedman. Hey, Joanne, how are you as well? And Amy Bonner, Colleen Mike Johnson. And I think we'll stop her out. Anna Martins. I wouldn't want to leave you out. Or Colleen O'Brien, either one. Nick R. And Wyatt Garrett. Don't want to miss you, Wyatt. Chaz, Kevin Jarrett, Misfire. God, I love seeing you guys out here. Julia Shepard, Donna McCarthy, Ian Smith, LJ Price, Robin McGrath, Dr. Bose, Diane Cockerman, and Jeremy Walgreen. All right, if that's beyond that, I apologize. All right, let me say this right off the bat. I've got my assistant manager. Let's be honest, she's the boss. I've got Sharon helping me with all the questions because there's so many of you out there. So she'll help me to try to catch as many of these as I can. Y'all know me. I tend to just start talking away. I want to try to keep the answers a little more concise tonight because I know there's a lot of questions out there, and we'll just see how the time goes. But what do you think about Big Brother so far? I'm enjoying it. I think they got a great cast, crazy chaos. God, in this house, you think I got some gray hairs now? If I had played this season of Big Brother, my hair would I would look like Kenny at the end of this. Well, halfway through. Of course, I'd still be there halfway through. No digs at Kenny, but yeah, I hated to see him go, but he was. Let me say this. There are spoilers. Any of you who are new to this, we are going to be talking about things that you saw beyond last night's episode, assuming you saw it since it was like at 2 o'clock in the morning or something, but we are talking some spoilers, so just be prepared for that. All right, let me look at some questions and get right into it. Brian Hotsetter saying, this is the week that you and Kat were on the block together. Oh, I remember it well. Oh my gosh, it started off Tommy won the HOH on his birthday. Everyone thought that was a great deal. All I knew is it came down between Tommy and Sis winning that competition. It was riding these kayaks down a little fake river. And I knew Sis was coming for me because I'd already tried to target Jack. So Tommy winning was the best of a bad situation. And then sure enough, yeah, Kat and I end up on the block. I thought that, well, maybe with this America's Field Trips, Mickey or someone can go up and maybe send him out the door instead. That didn't work out. Tommy wins veto, or I think Tommy or Nick pulls Christy off. We did get to do OTEV that week, and Kat and I had our hallmark moment fighting for ropes, and me telling, go on without me, go on without me. Yeah, Brian, I remember that week well. It was tough because we lost Kat. And I wanted to work with Kat. I like Cliff's Angels. Hated the name, liked the alliance. But we lost Kat, and then later we lost Jessica as well. But yeah, that was a fun week. I got to play OTEV. Anything that ends with me getting to play OTEV and surviving in the house, those two combined, pretty good weeks. So yeah, thank you for the. I can't believe it's 5 years ago. Doesn't seem like it's been that long, but 5 years ago. Been watching Big Brother ever since. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Mark Taylor saying, did Tucker make a mistake by winning all the time? Absolutely. Tucker is thinking that he's succeeding by controlling the game, which he is. I mean, he gave the veto to Angela instead of coming off the block, and then he did what he wanted to do by winning the AIBB arena. Props to Tucker for short-term victories. Long-term, this is hurting his game, though. If he makes it to the very end, he may have a fantastic chance at getting the jury vote and winning this thing. How would you not vote for him if he continues doing this? But he has created such a huge target on his back. Yes, he's controlled the game. He's protected people. He's done all this crazy stuff. He's a different kind of player than we've seen in a long time. But every time he wins, it's like winning the battle and losing the war, in my opinion. I think that's what he's doing because the target has gotten so big on his back. Everyone's saying at this point, we may never get Tucker out. The first chance we get, we've got to take him out of this thing. Yeah, I think he made a major mistake. And I know a lot of people don't like Jackson Mickey's game from my season, but let me point out something on Jackson Mickey. He did not win his first HOH until, I want to say, week 7 or 8. I won HOH before Jackson Mickey did. He slow played it in the beginning. He threw comps. The first comp he ever won was the veto competition during my HOH during week 4. He didn't win a lot at the beginning. So even though we look back and say, oh my God, that guy was a comp beast, he didn't get that and give us that impression until much later in the season when it was that much tougher to get him out because there were fewer people competing against him in all these competitions and all that. We know that Tucker is an absolute comp beast when he's focused on this stuff. He didn't have to win them all right now. He could have waited and dominated a little bit later. So, yeah, I think he's in trouble because of it. He's a legacy. I mean, people will talk about him forever based on how he's done so far. But, yeah, I think he's playing too hard and not looking at the long-term big picture. He's just looking at week to week. What can I do to make maximum impact, create maximum chaos? And I don't think that's going to help him. I think Quinn is doing a little bit of the same thing. Quinn seems like he's so busy, so preoccupied with the idea of making these splashy things and being fun for the cameras and all of that, that sometimes I think maybe he's doing a little too much as well. Not like Tucker, but we'll find out how it goes. All right. Karen Hummer is saying, do you think Angela is going to the jury house? I would not have said that in 100 years if you'd asked me, gosh, even just a week ago. But Tucker gave her the veto last week, so she was safe. She won HOH this week, so she's safe. It depends on who wins HOH. If Tucker wins HOH, Angela's safe. She's not going on the block this week. If someone else wins it, I could see Angela going up as just an easy target. I mean, put her up. Who's going to care? No one's going to get upset if you put Angela on the block. But I also think Angela is just right here on the edge where no one's in a huge hurry to vote Angela out either. She's done a pretty good rehab job of making herself a little less irritating. A little less. I haven't really seen anything too irritating with her so far, too much this week. So I think she's done a decent job of convincing and showing people that maybe first week was just her overplaying and too excited about the game and all that. And I think she's starting to work her way back in with some relationships in this house where she's nice enough that no one's in a hurry to get her out the door. She doesn't seem like a threat. Several people throughout the week have said, yeah, Angela's not going to win anything. Now, they may change that after the second HOH, but I still think people don't think, especially with the anticipation that they'll start getting some more physical challenges, that Angela maybe isn't the big comp beast, even though she's won a couple of them. And so, yeah, she basically has to last, what, a couple more weeks after this week, I think, to make jury. I could see her doing it. Now, Quinn has already said he does not want to be in the jury house with Angela. He's going to try to go out of his way. And that's the one thing that may affect Angela, is if come next week, depending on who is HOH, if enough people say, look, do we really want Angela on jury? Do you, if you go to the jury house, want to be hanging out with her? Do you want her casting a vote on whether you win the prize at the end or not? There may be some people who are trying to push the urgency of getting her out just so she isn't part of the jury. That's the one thing I think that could make her a pre-jury member as a result. But if I was betting on it, I'm kind of thinking that she may make it to jury at this point. I think I would bet that she would. I mean, she's going to last a long time after that. I think numbers will catch up with her. But yeah, I can see her making jury at this point. I kind of want her to, just to irritate some of the other people in this house. All right, what do we have here? Jeremy Walgary and Paula Scar saying, did they let you know that you were going to be on Big Brother, or was it a surprise? Last night they're talking about. And then Julia Shepard saying, good to see you on the challenge pictures last night. Yeah, for those of you who maybe didn't catch it or have watched the episode or just didn't see the picture, there was one round of that HOH competition. I think it was Cam versus Brooklyn, where they had to identify which picture was the AI that was done poorly, incorrect. And I was picture number C. Yeah, they had me Photoshop. I guess it's not Photoshop if it's AI. AI took my face and put it on the body of a farmer hauling, looks like corn or horse feed or something. Horse chewing at my hat behind me and all that, working on a farm. Yeah. Now the answer is I had no clue. Yeah, I didn't know. It was fun though. It caught me off guard. This is the second year in a row that I've made an appearance on the show. Last season, they had my BB Comics logo, the groundhog. It was there during one of the competitions, which was fun. This time I was watching it. I was all excited because I saw Nicole from my season in one of the pictures. Like, oh, there's so cool. It's Nicole. Then all of a sudden I flash up there, and I think I was next to Red. I can't remember who else was there, but no, they don't tell us anything. When we sign a contract to go on Big Brother, we basically sell our soul. We sell everything. They own our likeness, our image, everything to do with us, Big Brother, anything. I doubt anything, absolutely anything. It's a long contract that you sign. So no, they did not have to give us permission at all for something like it. And they certainly did not. So it was as big a surprise for me as for anyone. But yeah, that was cool. I actually paused the TV a few times. Who would do that? Yeah, I know I did. Paused it a few times, took a screenshot and all of that. And yeah, it was cool. It's nice to be remembered every once in a while. So hey, if CBS really wants to do it cool, bring me back out to host one of those competitions. I can do a decent job hosting. But yeah, that was fun. It's always exciting to see that you're one of the folks that I guess people remember enough to put you up on a screen like that. So yeah, Nicole from my season was there. I was on the competition, and then David Alexander was on there as well. So yeah, the family got a little bit of an appearance on the competition. All right, let's see. I've got real quick, Dr. Bose. Now, Dr. Bose, you have done this before and you're doing it again. I certainly appreciate the super stamp. I guess that's what they call it. Thank you for the support. I absolutely appreciate the support. I appreciate the recognition. I love doing this, but thank you so much. Dr. Bose saying, Cliff, not sure if you mentioned Brooklyn talking about the fake moon landings. Awesome. Some of us know we've been lied to about everything. All right, now, Dr. Bose, remember, I live in Houston. I live right next door to NASA. I know people. Fred Hayes, one of the astronauts from Apollo 13, I ran into him all the time. His grandkids went to school with my kids. We talked. I've gone to launches of the shuttle. I know astronauts personally. I know the flight director and the flight director's son that was there at Apollo 13. I've got a lot of people that work within NASA, and this stuff about the moonshot being fake. Yeah, I know it was a Cold War. There were all kinds of incentives for us to want to beat the Russians at it and all of that. But Yeah, no, no Brooklyn and I are gonna have to have a little talk when she gets out, because it was real, and it was absolutely real, which makes it that much more phenomenal. Y'all are talking to the guy who, during my season, told Big Brother Productions, said, "Please, can I have an American flag to celebrate the 50th anniversary of men landing on the moon?" And they said, "Well, the only way you get that is to win the HOH." So by God, I went out and won the HOH the night before that celebration took place, and they gave me my flag. So yeah, well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I'm ready to go back just to prove all the naysayers wrong. But yeah, we were on the moon. Hey, get your telescope. If it's a strong enough telescope, you can see that flag sitting up there, right? May have to be a heck of a strong telescope, but there's a flag sitting up there somewhere. A few flags. But Dr. Bose, thank you for the support. I absolutely do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It truly does. All right. Patty's saying, is there anything or anyone else you would have liked to have seen have Quinn's power instead? Well, that's a good question. Who could really create some chaos with that power? Who would be willing to create chaos with that power? Someone who's somewhat invested in playing the game, which means not Cam, who I just don't feel like he's doing much of anything. Someone who can keep a secret. So who could keep a secret and actually play that thing the way it needs to be played? I don't know. What if Leah had it? Now, I don't know if she could keep it a secret. Probably not. Which way would she have gone if she had the opportunity to play it? Or Mackenzie? Now, Mackenzie would have been interesting. Of course, she had the other power. Do y'all realize how, I'm not going to say unfair, it's just the way the dice roll sometimes. Mackenzie got her power not because she did anything right or wrong, but just because she happened to be, I don't remember if she's the first group of 8 or the second group of 8 that came into the house. If she'd been in the other group, instead of getting that power, she would have gotten the deep fake HOH instead, and Quinn or someone else would have gotten the other power. Could have changed the game completely. Maybe I'll go with that. I'd like to see how Mackenzie would have played the game after Matt had already gone out, because she has talked multiple times about how she really just feels alone in this house. And to some degree, she is. So she could have used that to get some loyalties. She either would have revealed that secret to get people on her side, perhaps, or keep it a complete secret and really go after the other side and create a whole. She could have created so much chaos. So yeah, I'm going with that answer. I'm going with MJ. Mackenzie would have been fun to get the power. Quinn would have been fun to get the power if he just hadn't opened his big old mouth and told Angela at the very beginning. I opened my big old mouth and said too much one time, but I didn't do it on purpose. Quinn did it on purpose, and you just don't give out that kind of information with anyone after the first day or two. Everything's too fluid as you're trying to figure that house out. All right, Marianne is saying, when you're HOH, do you control the cameras on the TV? Can you move them or focus on someone? You control which channel you're on, basically, but you don't get to do anything beyond that. There's it's hard to see on the remote, but there's basically, I think it's just one button that you click, and it goes through 4 different screens. There's a screen that shows the hallway outside the HOH. There's a screen that shows the kitchen, and kind of off to the side, you can kind of see out into the backyard. There's another one that shows the living room area, and that's it. And then the 4th screen doesn't show anything at all. It'd be great if it could show the back bedrooms and all that, but yeah, it doesn't show anything back there. You can't change where the cameras are pointing. You can't zoom in close to try to read lips or anything like that. It's static cameras. All you can do is pick one of those 3 shots and watch it. There's no sound. There's no zooming in or anything, but it does give you some pretty decent insight. The problem is, the more time you spend upstairs watching those monitors to see who's talking to each other, the less time you have to be downstairs talking to people yourself, which I think is very important. When I was HOH, I sat up there and watched it some, just because it was cool that I had the power. But I've got to say, I felt like I got a little bit more accomplished staying downstairs. There are different spots in that house, if you sit just right, where all those windows, those mirrored windows that the cameras are behind, if you sit just right, you can get those, you can have your visuals bounce off one mirror into another, and next thing you know, you're in the kitchen and you can see all the way into the back bedroom doorways and things like that if you just look just right. So there are a few different things. If I was in the house now, It truly, if with today's house, which is a little different than mine, you know where I would spend a lot of time? Halfway up those stairs, just sitting up there, kind of lording over the rest of the house. That would be perhaps my hangout, close enough that you can still talk to people and everything else, but just such a great vantage point to see everything that's going on and keep track of all of it. I'd just park up there. I would take me a little chair up there and I'd be having my breakfast and dinner and everything. I'd be trying to interact with the other people, but I would be spending a lot of time halfway down that landing because I think it's just a great spot to check things out. All right, what else do we have on here? Tina Harlan Sandstead is saying Tucker is confident about the wall comp. Yeah, I know he is. We'll see. I think the wall comp is easier for shorter men or women. I don't think it'll be easier for him. Well, let me tell you who that wall comp isn't easy for. And that's people who are carrying a little extra mass on their frames. I remember doing my wall comp. So excited. Let me just say it. So incredibly excited when I went out in the backyard and saw that it was going to be the wall comp. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to do OTEV. Now I get to do the wall comp, slip and slide, all the iconic ones I got to do. The wall comp was something special. Got out there. I just remember after a while, my goal, I thought, well, there's no way I'm going to win against someone like a Tommy Bracco. I mean, he's the perfect build for winning the wall competition, right? He's a shorter guy, incredible muscles, endurance. He could have and he should have won that competition. He threw it for Jackson Mickey, which was the beginning of me suspecting that these two guys were working together. But yeah, that's the kind of person who should win it. I remember up there thinking, all right, well, I definitely have to last longer than Jessica. I don't want to be the first one off. I just need to outlast a few other people to make it respectable. And I don't remember how long I hung on, 15, 20 minutes. It seems like it was a couple hours, but I know it wasn't. Eventually, as soon as I fell, Christy fell. She just wanted to last longer than me. Cedric and Tucker both just think that it's nothing more than a battle of willpower. All I've got to do is just say, I'm not going to let go, and I'm not going to let go. Cedric was saying something last night about, we got to figure out some way to make Tucker fall off this wall because I don't want to be spending 15 hours up there waiting for him. Well, Cedric, you're not spending 15 hours up there, whether there's anyone else up there or not. It's too hard. If it's not hard enough just holding on, the fact that the wall, and it's tough to see from the TV just how much that wall tilts. But if you go 30, 45 degrees, that's a lot of leaning. It's a lot of stress on your triceps and everything else on your upper muscles. Then add into that they're spraying you with all kinds of liquid sprays. So eventually you're going to move your hands for whatever reason. They're sweaty or whatever. As soon as you move your hands, then you put your hands back up there. Now it's wet. It's even more slippery. You're starting to have to really grip. Let me tell you one of the things I did when I went into the Big Brother house is for probably a couple of months before I went into the house, I didn't trim my fingernails. I've got short fingernails, not short fingers, but short fingernails. And normally I didn't trim them at all. I let them grow out as much as I could because I knew there were going to be competitions where you're having to hold on to stuff, hold on to the walls, things like that. And I thought, all right, I got these old hooks of a fingernails. I'll be able to grip some stuff and hold a little bit tighter because of it. So that was part of my preparation. I don't know if it worked that well. Obviously not. I didn't win any of those kinds of competitions, but I thought I did okay on them. But yeah, that's tough. It's not just willpower. It's absolutely your body failing on you. They're convinced this week is going to be the wall comp. Maybe it is. It could be. I'm ready for some physical competitions. I like that they haven't been physical so far because I think it's more fair to everyone playing the game. I think the physical comps were stacked against me during my season. There were so many of them, but I don't want to go so far the other direction that you don't have any physical comps. You need to have a nice mix of it. So I would be fine if it's the wall. I hope it is, just to watch some of these guys realize that they can't just stay up there just because their brain tells them that they need to. At some point, your body gives up on you. It's just, I can't run a marathon right now, no matter how disciplined my brain is. My body can't physically run that kind of distance. They're going to find out the same thing when they do the wall competition. And I'm going to kind of be there to enjoy watching them get a little humbled as they go. What a great competition that'd be with those guys, right? Oh, and they're again be up there trash talking each other. Even better if they do. All right. Marion is saying, Can you hear over the walls in the house? Are the rooms open on the top? No, the rooms are not open on the top. You have you have basically just old ceiling tiles like you see in classrooms and things like that. Just those what 2x3 or whatever tiles. Y'all know what I'm talking, right? And you've got that. You've got a few ventilation vents and things like that. Lots of cameras around the sides. In the middle, you've got some cameras for the infrared cameras at night, stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's ceilings all the way throughout the whole house. If you're in the living room, there's no roof there. You can look all the way up to the top and you can actually see. Well, I guess there is a roof. They've put a little bit of a roof to simulate a house at the very top, 2 stories up. There's a few areas where you can see past the roof where there's some holes to accommodate some cameras hanging in, microphones and all that. And if you look just right, you can see silver on the other side because this is inside a sound stage, and you can actually see the roof of the sound stage if you look just right on the roofs. But inside the house, every room has a roof. You can't see over the top at all. I did while I was in the house once or twice. I realized that, for example, the boat room and the front bedroom face against each other. There's just a hallway in between. I also realized that the back bedroom, in our season, it was the Winnebago room. In this season, it's the rock bedroom where that butts right up against the showers themselves. And I did try a few times thinking, if I put my ear right up against one of these mirrors, could I hear sound? Could I hear people talking from the other room on the other side of that passageway? I don't know how big that passageway is, a couple of feet at least, because you got to get the cameras back and forth through there. Couldn't hear anything. They got probably a great shot of my ear as I'm up against the window, but couldn't hear anything. But I tried to listen in. I was in the storage room one time and had my ear up against the wall to listen to people talking in the target room. I could hear them talking, but it just was too muffled to really understand what was going on. So now you can't overhear any of that. Now in the backyard, it is open. You're up probably 2 stories worth of walls. And then over that, it's just open air. You can see the tops of some trees. You can hear music every once in a while from the apartments nearby. Lots of airplanes, lots of helicopters, horns honking, things like that. When there's filming going on, sometimes you can hear different noises out on the lot and all of that. So yeah, in the backyard, you can hear a little bit. Inside, nothing at all. Yeah, it's all closed off. It's all isolated. So you can't really hear anything at that point. All right, let's see. What else do we have on here? Matt Van Grinson is saying, how long before the season did you know you're going to be on? Well, there's a difference between thinking that you may have a good chance and knowing that you're going to be on. I actually tried out, I want to say like February 22nd, 23rd for casting call. Our season started the end of June 13th, 15th, something like that. So I had a good 4 months where I knew I was in the running. For the first 2.5 or so months, I kept saying, well, this is kind of cool. Wonder how long it's going to go. And Sharon kept saying, Cliff, you're going on the show. Now that they know who you are, you're going on the show. I was like, yeah, a lot of people trying out for the show. There's no way. It's going to be a cool ride. And how cool would it be if I get to the top 50 or something? And I kept getting phone calls every once in a while saying, well, Cliff, you're still in the running. We still want a little more info from you and things like that. And eventually, about a month or so ahead of time, I got a call saying, Cliff, we're not saying you're on because we don't know yet. There's still a lot of people to be picked from, but you're close enough that you may want to consider talking to people at work, and don't tell them what you're doing, but just make sure the business is taken care of. We know that you've got a white collar job and all. Make sure that you do what you have to do with the assumption that you could be gone for a few months. It's like, wow, that's a conversation to be had with the boss. But probably for about the 2 or 3 weeks before I got snatched, it's when I started thinking, gosh, they're still talking to me, and I know it's getting ready to start. There can't be that many older guys that they're still talking to. So at that point, I started thinking the odds were better that I was going to go on rather than not. But really, even when they showed up and I found my key and all of that, even then, they did a good job of telling me, saying, Cliff, we're going to come out. We're going to film you with the intro and everything, because there is still a chance that you're going to go on. But they told me so much. They said, but we've got a lot of alternates, a lot of people who, some of them will fly to LA. Some of them, we're not even going to bother flying to LA, but you're still going to be an alternate. And there's no guarantee you're going on the show, but pretend like you are in terms of packing and all that, just in case. And then when I found the key and they said, that's it, Cliff, you actually are going on the show. And so that's when I knew for certain. Before that, I still thought there was a possibility that I could just be an alternate, that I maybe would sit around, maybe go out to LA for a week or two and then pop right back. I truly didn't know. But probably about a month ahead of time was when I started thinking that, yeah, there's a pretty good chance that maybe I'm going to get on this thing. What an amazing feeling. Yeah, can y'all even imagine the nerves and the excitement and the butterflies that start building up when you realize that I'm probably going to be going on Big Brother? It was crazy. Oh, what a crazy spring that was. All right. YTC JC Star 1015 is saying, were there times you felt you were being perceived differently from a viewer standpoint in the house during your season? Oh, I didn't know what to think. I truly didn't. I was trying to have fun in the house, so I was doing a few pranks here and there, but I didn't know what people were saying behind my back, especially when I got booted on day number 1, fought my way back in, and then won the battle back. I thought, surely, I think I'm getting a decent edit. Surely they're spinning me the right way, that here I am kind of fighting the odds and doing okay. So I was hopeful that I was perceived well. When they had the America's Field Trip, at that point, when I wasn't one of the 3 people picked, it was Christy and Sis and Mickey, because we knew that was not good if you got picked for that. And so when I didn't get picked, I thought, all right, well, that's decently good. When I won the battle back and then HOH, production did screw up a little bit, because they said, hey, Cliff, you don't understand what a big deal this is. I said, yeah, I do understand it. And at one point, someone in production had said something about, do you have something to tell the Cliffomaniacs out there? I said, the Cliffomaniacs? They said, yeah, there's some people calling themselves that. And so then I thought, oh, maybe I'm getting portrayed okay. The time that I was a little bit worried about it, there were 1 or 2 times where I would just say something stupid, the off the cuff remark, criticizing some person in the house, then thinking, oh my God, what if they're the America's popular person and I just called them out for being a bad player or something like that. But I know when they had the America's Prankster, I really thought maybe that I would get nominated and given that power, and instead it was Nick. And that was kind of low spot. I was like, oh man, maybe I'm not being seen the way I think I'm being seen. But I really, throughout the whole season, thought, all right, I'm either going to be shown as a little bit of a guy fighting the odds and doing a lot more than is expected of him, or they're going to be showing me as just this bumbling old guy who is just like Mr. Magoo, just not really doing anything to get where he's going, but just somehow managing to always figure out the path to get one step further. And but just kind of being oblivious to everything that's going on around him. I wasn't sure which way it was until I got out of the house. When I got out of the house, I asked the producers, they said, is there anything that you need to know? And I said, yeah, 2 things. Tell me the scores of the A&M football games, because I missed them and I really want to know how my Aggies are doing. And how did I do a good job? Are y'all okay with how I did and all that? And my how am I going to be perceived out there? And at first they weren't going to tell me the scores. Finally, they said, all right, we can probably tell you the score. So they told me the score of A&M versus Clemson that year and all that. And then they said, as far as perception, they said, yeah, we think you'll be okay with the edit. You'll like your edit. It's like, all right, that's all I need to know. So yeah, then I felt a little bit better about it. But you never know while you're in that house. You don't know. You don't know how you're being spun or portrayed. All right. Tommy Braska is saying, don't like that Angela can't play in the HOH this week because she didn't run it. And Kay Foreman saying, don't think Quinn should be able to play next HOH. He ran the show. And Monica M is saying, if Angela can't play, Quinn shouldn't play. I get what y'all are saying. It seems unfortunate that Angela basically had no power. Is this really the HOH that you wanted to win? And I, even watching that HOH competition last night, I'm not sure how many people really were trying to win it versus maybe just, if it comes my way, maybe, but maybe I don't want to win it even. T-Core said she's not going to win anything until, I think it's T-Core. She's not planning to win anything until jury phase. I think there's probably a few people that were like that. Yeah, I get it. It was kind of a wasted HOH. Now, Angela did get her letters. Theoretically, it gave her a chance to rehabilitate her image a little bit, but she had no power. So I don't even know how I could do that. But remember, we're looking at this through the lens of everyone in that house knowing that Quinn has the power. What if no one knew that Quinn had the power? What if it truly had been secret, the way it should have been? Well, then suddenly, how can you tell Quinn that he can't play in the HOH the next week since no one knows that he's the one that hijacked it? If you tell him that, or if you, I guess you could tell him that he has to throw it. He can't win it, or else there'll be a penalty nom or something like that. I guess there's something you could do around that, but I'm okay. I think I'm okay with the fact that she can't compete and that he can, because it is a power. I would not punish him by not letting him compete because he exerted a power this week. From Angela's standpoint, she was the HOH. She knew, she should have known going in that she was going to lose a lot of power. Now, I'm not sure when she won it that she realized that Quinn also controlled the renoms for veto, and I still don't know. Y'all tell me. Let me know if you've heard one way or the other officially. If it came down to a tie vote, does Quinn get to vote or does Angela get to vote? I see a lot of people saying Angela will have that decision, but I don't know if I've seen that officially or not. It's something I've been trying to check, and I just don't know yet. But yeah, I get why maybe it's a little unfair to Angela, but you know, it's a game. It's just part of it. The power was set up with those rules before any of them even walked into the house, and it is what it is. She has to be careful. I do think though she's done a good job of making herself less a target. So she'll. What if she could play in another HOH? What if she won 2 HOHs in a row and 3 of the first 4 HOHs? Is Angela the person that we would have pointed at as being the comp beast before this season started? Angela versus Tucker, alpha male and alpha female. Yeah, I don't think that's a headline any one of us would have expected so far. I'm okay with it. I truly am. Kind of tough to be Angela, but it is what it is. All right. Patty's saying, who would you put as your line, work with, pick as your alliance member out of this group? Pick 4 others. 4 others. So I'm trying to think someone. It's easy for us to do this when we get to see how devious or not that they are. If I was in the house and I'm just going off of information that maybe I kind of know or don't know, I'm not going with Angela because I feel like she gets too emotional, and I'm not a good player dealing with emotional players. Brooklyn, I can see me going to Brooklyn. She's another parent. I'm a parent. I can see us bonding over that a little bit. She's from Dallas. I'm from Houston. I have a feeling I would have matched up with Brooklyn and we would have tried to make something happen. Along with Brooklyn comes Chelsea. I probably would have worked with her. Joseph, I feel like Joseph's playing an okay game. I think he's thinking he's playing a little bit better than he maybe actually is. You know, and T-Core and Chemo, in some ways, those are the kind of people that I tend to gravitate towards. You know, I went into the house my season thinking of myself as a little bit of an underdog. Once that big alliance formed, I kind of found some other underdogs to try to work with. But, you know, it was me and Ovi and Nicole. None of us were considered, you know, the mega players or anything like that. So there's a chance that maybe Brooklyn and Chelsea and T-Core and Chemo, something like that. Being an Aggie, there's a good chance I would have had some kind of connection. In fact, a huge chance that I would have had some kind of connection with Mackenzie. I would have worked with her too. So I know I'm giving you 5 right there. But yeah, something along those lines. I probably would not be working a lot with Leah or Lisa or Angela. Tucker, I would kiss up to, but he's too emotional in his own way. So probably not him as well. And Cam, I don't feel like Cam's playing the game yet. So, and Quinn, I said before my cast assessment, Quinn's a wild card. I would have seen him as a wild card when I went in. He's one of those that I would have been friendly to and potentially promised all kinds of stuff, but been a little bit nervous about getting too close to him at the same time. So, but probably Mackenzie and Brooklyn are 2 that I would most likely be trying to work with, I think. All right. Crazy Jim Mini IKP saying, was the door always there on the bathroom? If you're talking about the door going into the kitchen, no, it was not there during my season. Instead, it it was open all the way into the bathroom. Now we had a door in the stall, if that's what you're talking about, but I assume that you're talking about that other door. Now during my season, the bathroom area, the makeup mirrors, and all that was open all the way up into the kitchen. We had a door over the boat room, which is now the gym in there. During my season, they switched it up. I think it was during All Stars. I think, or was it the season after? I think it was All Stars that they switched it up, and they actually opened up the door in the boat room, the gym, and put in the door on the going into the bathroom. It may not have been All Stars. It may have been the following season, 23, I think, when that happened. But yeah, no, that door was not always there. I kind of liked it the old way. It was a little easier to eavesdrop. If you were sitting just right, you could hear people. You could be in the bathroom and hear people talking in the kitchen, or vice versa. Now you have a little bit more privacy, which I'm sure is what they're looking for. Shoot, if that door had been there, I would not have been in the boat room talking. I would have been sitting on the couch in the bathroom talking to the cameras and not worried nearly as much about being overheard. And if someone came in to use the bathroom, I would acted like I was asleep. I went to the bathroom and just sat here and fell asleep or something. Whatever I can do. Of course, I always thought it was kind of creepy, the people to just sit in that bathroom while other people are coming in to use it. You don't do that at the mall or anywhere else, right? I mean, only in the Big Brother house do people hang out outside the bathroom and just gossip. It was just a weird environment. It always made me a little bit uncomfortable. Of course, I sat out there as well. You sit where all the other people sit, but just weird, just a little bit creepy on the creepy side. All right. What else do we have on here? Karen Hummer is saying, is the diary room as soundproof as it seems like? People yell in there. It's very soundproof. Every once in a while, I would hear Tommy Bracco yelling from the diary room. So it's not 100%. And I never really took that much from it. All right, well, Tommy's just obviously being very animated in his diary room sessions. I tried to figure out what that meant. Never could really use that for anything. But no, it's pretty soundproof. You go in there and there's soundproofing up everywhere. One of the things they make you do when you come in, the very first thing, you have to take your microphone off and you put it in a soundproof box that's down by your feet. Close the lid because they had an incident one time where someone accidentally hit the wrong switch and people were talking into their microphone and it was playing over the speakers and people outside the diary room could hear what the person inside was saying. So they they made this new rule. First thing you do every time, Cliff, put your microphone in the box, please. Yeah, okay. And then at the end, don't forget your microphone. Okay, sure. So they did that, but no, very, very soundproof. At least soundproof from going backwards into the house itself. Remember, you've got the diary room, then you've got that hallway that people walk up and down when they're casting their votes, and then you've got the outer wall. So you actually have 36 inches, 40 inches, 3 feet or so worth of hallway that the sound has to get through as well. So yeah, you really can't hear anything in there unless someone just goes out of their way to scream at the top of their lungs while they're in there. So I always felt very secure talking in there that no one else could hear me. Now I did, before the season started, some of the producers came to me and they're telling us all the rules. And they said, all right, Cliff, when you're in a diary room, you can say whatever you want and no one in the game will ever hear any of it. And I said, well, until y'all play a twist on me or something, right? They said, what do you mean, Cliff? And I said, well, Big Brother Canada, they had a twist one time where people said stuff in the diary room about who they trusted and things like that, or who they didn't trust. And then Big Brother Canada played it for all the other house guests. I said, so, how do I know that y'all aren't going to do something similar? And the producer I was talking to said, Cliff, I'm telling you right now, I'm making you a promise. We don't do that down here. We will not ever play anything that you said inside the diary room to any other house guest in this house. We know that for you to be honest and truthful and tell us what you're really thinking, you have to know that you can trust us to not do that. So they were very, very upfront that anything you want. And they told us a lot of times, they said, we'll call you to the diary room, but if you ever just feel like you need to come and vent, or you just want to come and hang out, in Nicole's case in my season, if you just want to come in here and cry, whatever, come in. As long as we aren't talking to someone else, we will let you in. If you want to talk to someone, we'll have someone there who can ask you questions. If you just want to talk, we'll just sit back and let you talk. If you don't want to do anything except just sit in there and catch your breath, you can do that as well. So in a lot of ways, the diary room was a place of safety, kind of a sanctuary. Of course, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, if I go in there to vent, to blow off steam, to gripe about someone, as soon as the words come out of my mouth, I can't guarantee that's not going to go on TV. So it really didn't feel like the safe place for me because I knew they were just in there waiting for me to say something, I don't know, stupid or say something aggressive against someone else. It was something that was going to come back and catch up to me. So I didn't really take advantage of it too much. Once or twice I went in there just to catch my breath a little bit. But for the most part, other people took a lot more advantage of it than I did. Okay. I Am Famous says, what do you mean by find the key? That intro is set up right. Well, not so much. And then Donna McCarthy is saying, do you leave in the hour after you find the key? All right. Let me go into that a little bit. First of all, no, it's not a setup. It's not. I found my key at the bottom of the tackle box. My family was fishing, and I remember the producers at one point said, "All right, Cliff, turn around and look in your tackle box. Why don't you change to another lure? We want to see if handling, the fishing pole." Oh, okay, sure. So I didn't even think anything about it. I turn around, open the tackle box. There is a key. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now it was not set up. I didn't know I was going to find it. I got done, and they said, "All right, cut." And I said, do I need to do it again or something? They said, "No, Cliff, that was perfect. We don't need your reaction was just what we were looking for. You're good." I did hear that some people had to refilm it, not because it's a setup or anything, but because they cursed, because they saw it as, and they said things that you don't show on primetime TV, and so they had to redo it, recreate their excitement and everything else without using curse words. I know there are a couple of people that had that. But no, it was not set up. And again, they spent so much time saying you could be an alternate, so just be aware. As far as leaving within the hour, in my case, it wasn't necessarily within an hour because that was the very first shot that they got. But I don't know if y'all remember, but then there were some shots taken of me on an oil rig, so we actually had to drive to another location and take some shots there. And they did some other interview shots. I found my key. That was basically one of the very first things that they filmed. And then everything after that, I did have to basically say goodbye to my family. They filmed all kinds of stuff for another few hours, intros of me and all of that. After all of that, then I was taken back to my house. My luggage was already ready to go. I got to have a final goodbye to my wife and kids, hugged them all, said I love you and all that, grabbed my bag, put me in a car, and off I went. So it was more than a few hours, but it was just time spent filming and things like that. Truly, you do leave soon after that, and you're the second I found that key. Literally within the second they said cut, they said, "Cliff, you're on the show. Oh, and give us your phone." I mean, that quick, I had to give up my cell phone immediately. There was no calling anyone, taking pictures, nothing. The second they announced it, there goes the phone, there goes the contact with the rest of the world. That was interesting, knowing that, okay, well, I love you, wife. I love you, kids. I'll see y'all in 3.5 months. And until then, I've never been apart from that long. That took some getting used to. I empathize with Kenny. I would have never quit, but I empathize with Kenny. And he didn't quit either. But I feel like he kind of internally gave up a little bit. Okay, 750. We're doing all right. Let's see what else we've got on here. Tanya Wright is saying, having the House vote be the rule causes everyone to be in fear of playing. Bring back players who aren't scared to play. Well, I think you got a few of those this season. I do think the fear of standing out causes some of these House votes and causes a little bit of stagnant play sometimes. I get that. I think they could fix it by not necessarily announcing what the vote count was. Just say who's evicted. It could be a 5-4 vote. It could be a 9-0 vote. Maybe don't really say what the vote count is. One of my big regrets is my very first vote I made in that house. Ovi was on the block against Cat, and everyone else was voting for Cat. I knew that was the case. And so I voted, voting to keep Cat, voting against Ovi. Everyone else was doing it. I did the same thing. Ovi did not deserve a unanimous vote to head out the door. If I had it to do over again, now that I know what I know, I don't care what anyone else in that house said. I would have cast a vote to save Ovi and given him he was my guy in there. I would give him a little more respect on that vote because he deserved it. But I was playing I'd been banished. I'd been on the block. I'd been able to get myself pulled off when Sam used the veto on me, but I felt my position was so precarious at the time. And I definitely was playing scared that first week. And I didn't want to do anything that would maybe have people pointing fingers at me. So I've always regretted that vote more than any other vote I made the whole season. But yeah, get rid of the vote count and just say who goes home. And I think you may open it up a little bit. All right. Donna McCarthy is saying there should be a rule that they can't reveal who they are voting out to anybody. I've got mixed feelings about that. I mean, I think if you did that, first of all, I think people would hint around and they'd try to bypass it. I mean, how do you call someone out when they say, well, you know who I'm going to want to vote out, right? Or you know which way I'm leaning. I feel like people could hint and still get the message across. So I'm not sure how effective it would be. And I think that sometimes you can use threats or say that you're voting one person or another. You can use that as part of your strategy. And I would hate for that part of the game to disappear. With me, well, for example, I tried to poison Mickey at the end by saying, you boot me out of here. I'm going to poison the jury and you're not getting my vote. Holly's getting my vote. Well, theoretically, if I say I'm voting for Holly, if you do this, maybe that could violate some rules or things like that. There's a time or two where I would tell people, lots of people say, oh, as long as you got enough other votes, you've got my vote. I'll vote to save you and things like that. Well, maybe you couldn't do that as much if you have some of those rules in place. So I understand the sentiment. I absolutely do. And it certainly would make a little bit more drama in some ways, but I think you'd lose some of the strategy if you did that as well. All right, let's see. Ma is saying, Ma, I hope you're doing well. Ma, what was the longest you were in the DR for? I know exactly what it was for. Now, I don't know how long it was because we didn't have a lot of clocks in there. The only clock we had during our season, did the coffee maker have a clock? I don't even think the coffee maker did. The stove, the oven had a clock, and that was it. But the longest one I did was definitely the well, in the start, we had a lot of people, so I guess those weren't that long. After the BB Comics, when there were only 5 of us still in the house, so we were having to do longer and longer DR sessions. But on BB Comics, they wanted us to go through every single comic and make comments about that person. You know, oh well, yeah, he's definitely an ass, so yeah, they got that one correct. Or, you know, oh, looking good there. Yeah. They wanted a few little comments on every single one. I remember getting in there and they're saying, okay, what'd you think about Cats BB comic? I think I was in such a hurry. I don't remember what was hers. They'd say, oh, Cliff, remember that was the one, and she was Conspiro or whatever she was, and they would explain it to me and kind of help jog my memory. And oh yeah. Now, what'd you think about that? Yeah, do you think that was true to who she was? Do you think she'll be happy with that, or do you think she'll be upset? And a whole lot of questions. Well, you can imagine if you spend 10 minutes on each of those BB comics and you've got 16 of them to go through, that's 160 minutes. That's 2.5 hours, a little over 2 hours, 40 minutes. It's a long time to be in that diary room. So that was definitely the longest, because they also wanted to talk about the competition in general and all that. I was probably in there for about 2 hours. I know once or twice I did a diary room session where in the middle I'd say, guys, I hate to do it, but can y'all just let me get a break? I either need to go get some water or can I go use a bathroom? I'll come right back. Yeah, Cliff, that's fine. So there were a few long ones. At the start of the season, there were so many people, they were usually faster, say 10, 15 minutes, something like that. By the time we got to the end, there were a couple of really long ones. And there were other times where you would go in there for 30, 45 minutes, come out, and you're like, oh, God, that was long. And someone else would go in there for 30 minutes, and they'd call you right back in. And I always wondered when they did those, what did that other person say that now they want to have a whole new line of questioning for me? So I would really try to pay attention if I came back after someone else had just come in and them saying, Cliff, what do you think about this competition and the fact that so-and-so finished so far behind? Does that make you wonder? Like, all right, well, they just talked to this person. Did they maybe say that they threw it? You try to read so much into everything that takes place in there. And I remembered, I tried to keep track who was going to the diary rooms and when they were. All right, Tommy Braska is saying, you lose a lot of strategy when they always go with the house. Yeah, Yeah, I agree. I do agree. You lose a lot of chaos. I mean, all it takes is a couple of hinky votes. Look at this vote that they accused Lisa of, and it turns out they were right. That Lisa had cast that vote to save Matt, right? And she caught a lot of heat for it. And a lot of people would say, "Well, what's it matter if she votes for Matt versus votes, the other way?" Well, for her, it was just another nail in her coffin to get her out the door. So sometimes voting against the House can get you. I remember in our season, Jackson Mickey cast a vote to save Kimmy. He just threw it in there as a hinky vote. And a lot of people thought that it was Nicole who had cast that vote. Did it affect her? Probably not, but it could have, especially if Nicole had cast a vote to save Kimmy, and maybe I'd cast a vote, and suddenly there's 3 votes cast, and people are starting to get even more suspicious. It can affect the strategy, but sometimes I think it can help it. Sometimes I think it can hurt it. I'd like to try it with them not announcing the vote tallies just to see what it does to the game. But I don't know that I'm sold either direction on whether it would benefit or hurt. I'm just like y'all. I voted with the House, I think, every single vote I was in there. So I've been on that side. But I also know as a viewer, it's a lot more fun when you see some people voting their own mind and maybe creating a little extra chaos. It's just while you're in there, you don't want to make waves if you can avoid it. And that's one area that you can avoid it sometimes. All right, 7:58. A few more and then we'll shut it down. Chaz is saying, how many more House meetings will there be this season? Those House meetings. I've said it before. I know I've said it. It seems like I say every week. When they have a House meeting, my thought was just, don't say my name. Don't say my name. Don't say my name, please. Yeah, they've had a few this, and I think they'll keep having them. We had Angela, I guess her blow up wasn't really a House meeting, but everyone was there. And then Tucker calling a House meeting on behalf of Cedric, basically. And yeah, those are never good. Those tend to have someone blowing up at someone. Well, I say they're never good. They're fantastic if you're not the target and you're not the topic of conversation, because that means people are pointing fingers at each other, which is always what I was aiming for while I was in that house. But those are certainly stressful times. We had a few stressful, we didn't call them House meetings, but certainly Taco Tuesday, the boat room blow up of the big alliance. We had a few nights like that were stress-inducing situations for certain. All right, 7:59. Let's say final question. Let's say, Brian, wondering what the next twist will be. Well, here's a thought, and y'all tell me what you think about this. If I didn't get your questions, send me a DM on Twitter, Instagram, here on YouTube. They're losing the backyard today. They've already lost the backyard. Normally, we didn't lose the backyard until Tuesday morning. So they're an extra 24 hours or so without the backyard. Is that because whatever comp they're building for Thursday night, for the AIBB arena and for the other comp, HOH comp, is it some huge fancy setup that's taking that much longer to build, which is why they're thinking it could be the wall comp or something? Or is this something to do with another twist that may be taking place? Are we going to have, I don't know, what if you have people banned to the backyard like we had a couple of seasons ago, that they're booted out of the system or something and they're forced to stay in the backyard? We've got that big balcony out in the backyard now. I mean, let the imagination run wild. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm looking forward to the new twist. We'll see. I gotta say, I'm okay with the twist so far, but I'm ready for them to change. You don't want it the whole season. 4 weeks is fine. Let's move on to something completely different. Keep our fingers crossed that they're good twists and not zombie reincarnations and some like we had last season. Didn't like that. Didn't like it at all. All right, 8:01. So we'll go ahead and shut it down. Guys, y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll be back next Monday night. We'll be one person down further, and we'll know what the new twist is. So we got a lot to talk about next week. But before then, as I mentioned before, every morning I do a morning recap. I try to keep it to about 20 minutes. They've been about 30 minutes here lately, but quick little recap of everything that happened overnight. Check it out. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are as we go through these on a day-to-day basis. If you're going to check those out, again, I'd suggest subscribe to my channel, turn on those notifications, and just for me, please hit the thumbs up at the same time. Guys, have a fantastic Monday evening. The rest of what's left, whole rest of the week, I will be back next Monday, and I'll be back tomorrow morning. Until then, guys, SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all of y'all. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for those who joined me live. Thanks to those of you who are watching on replay as well. I don't want to forget about y'all. And again, if I missed any questions, shoot it to me. We'll either cover it next week or I'll answer you directly on DMs and things like that. Until then, guys, y'all have a great one. Cheers, my friends. Bye. There you go. Bye, guys.